Just a quick trip back home to Minute Maid Park inside downtown Houston, where the Astros wrap up this three-game set against the New York Mets. Astros winning a doubleheader yesterday, first doubleheader ever played at Minute Maid Park. 12-4 in Game 1, 4-1 in Game 2. And with that, the Astros now with 82 wins. They've secured a third consecutive winning season under A.J. Hinch. They lead the Angels by 12.5 games and own a magic number of 15 to clinch the AL West. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Todd Callis alongside Jeff Luhnow. Blummer, 3 games in a little more than 24 hours. A quick trip home. Nice to get home, but it'd also be nice to get away with a sweep.
Yeah, you get to hug your family and friends. You get to do a little bit of laundry, repack, but they'd sure love to get out of here with a sweep. That would make this that much better.
There's been a lot of good news lately, and today the big news and the best news is that Carlos Correa is back.
Yeah, Carlos Correa is back, and obviously it's crazy to think that as a ball club, just turning the calendar over and turning it into September can be a little bit of a boost. We saw in the first game yesterday, the offense coming out big, but they did a great job in those 2 games. They are going to be that much better with the addition of Carlos Correa. You see before the injury to Carlos Correa, the 289, the 5.9 runs per game. Obviously, the record's going to be quite good when you're scoring close to 6 runs a game. But after he left, we knew that a couple of other injuries ensued. Pitching staff had its own issues. Alex Bregman has been that one spotlight. Altuve's continue to grind through. But they are going to be so thankful to have him back in that lineup because it is going to make them that much deeper.
Correa will bat in the number 4 spot and play shortstop today. Correa was part of that offense that was just on a roll going into the All-Star break at 60 and 29. You saw the record without him. And now that he is back, that lineup, which was already thick, is that much thicker.
Yeah, there were some issues at the bottom part of the lineup where guys were not producing. We were really missing that impact bat that was going to push some runs across. But how about what he does on the defensive side also? He allows Bregman to go back to third base. They are going to get better defensively, even though they were great without him. They're going to be that much better with him and be able to move guys around, especially with Yuli nursing back from that knee injury.
So number 1 is back, part of what has been a lot of good news lately for the Houston Astros. Glad to be back here in Houston, Texas, as the area recovers from Harvey. And we come back, Julie Morales will talk about the emotional boost, and she'll be joined by Jeff Luhnow.
Oakland's first, and we've got houses and homes and wives and kids, and when any of that's disrupted, it impacts you coming to work, just like it would for any of you, or just like it would from anybody at home. So it's hard to say how much it was individually for each guy, but for me personally, it was nice to come home, make sure everything's settled, see some familiar faces, and then win a couple games.
Devastation struck Texas. Safe to say it impacted everyone. And for these players, after a long, hard week away, they had found out that they would be coming back to Minute Maid Park to play in front of their home fans for this Mets series. It was the first of a few things that would be very positive for this club. Acquisitions, guys returning from injury. And it showed immediately with this club as they took the field in game one of the doubleheader. It would be a long day, but they set the tone early. They had a great first and second inning. The offense coming alive. We haven't seen that in a month for this club, but they looked just like the team we'd seen take first place and then stay there all year long. It was the top of the order, the leaders on this team. They played well, and they ended up taking both of those games from the Mets and feeling good, obviously, coming into this one. But we did see a team against Texas Rangers have a couple of tough games in Tampa. I want to bring in Jeff Blum here, who's going to call the game today. Blummer, it almost seemed at times they were a little flat in that series. So much going on, but when you've got a guy coming in like Justin Verlander, Carlos Correa coming back, what kind of an impact can those things have on a clubhouse?
It has a great deal of an impact, especially with the Houston Astros. The team that you're talking about that we've been watching all season long is a very good ball club. They knew they were a very good ball club. They also knew that with some of the injuries and as flat as they were through the month of August, they were going to get some of the guys off the DL like Carlos Correa coming back. But with the addition of Cameron Maybin, you've got some depth and you have some electricity on the base paths when you need it. But the addition of Justin Verlander might be the one that has ignited them the most. I love the fact that he showed up when he could, as soon as he got from the airport, threw a bullpen, and then was immediately in that dugout. He is going to have an impact on these guys because he is a proven winner. He's a proven Cy Young guy. He has the hardware that he's bringing into this clubhouse, but he also has that presence. He knows that he is moving into a superstar type role, that ace position, and these guys are going to fall in line with him, and he's going to fall in line with them also, because you've heard in the interviews he's had, he knows these guys are winners and he wants to be a part of it.
There's definitely a good vibe around here, Blummer. Enjoy the call. We'll see you in just a few minutes. But these guys upbeat and ready to take this series from the Mets in sweep fashion. Stay tuned. First pitch is coming up with Carlos Correa. We'll be back in the lineup. Don't go anywhere.
by GulloAuto.com. Look who's back. Number 1, Carlos Correa, for the first time in 6.5 weeks. Has Buddy waiting for him to shake his hand and get a little autograph before the game as the Astros get ready to wrap up this 3-game set played in a little more than 24 hours. Day-night doubleheader yesterday. Day game this afternoon before the Astros head out of town for a while. Good to see Carlos back in there. Starting lineup for your New York Mets and Terry Collins today. Jose Reyes will lead things off. Norichika Aoki back in there for the Mets' second straight game. Asdrubal Cabrera third. Travis d'Arnaud is the DH. Dominic Smith at first base. Ahmed Rosario at shortstop. Brandon Nimmo, Kevin Plawecki, and Juan Lagares round out your Mets lineup. We are underway with Mike Fiers delivering a strike on the outside corner. Reyes coming in with an 8-game hitting streak, hitting .414 during that stretch. On the year, batting .232. Off the glove of Juan Centeno, and it's 1-1. Astros winning the first 2 games of this series, taking the doubleheader yesterday. First doubleheader ever played at Minute Maid Park.
Some of the numbers on Mike Fiers while we get a chance as Jose Reyes recuperates from that foul ball. 8-9 on the season. The ERA is at 4.5+. Whip is large. He's got 140 punch outs, but he's done a good job for the Astros in the sense that he leads the club with 26 starts, innings pitched at 144 1/3. He also is second in quality starts with 10. This will be his 15th start here at Minute Maid Park.
He's the one guy with all the injuries. He keeps taking the ball every 5 days. Breaking ball slipped out of his hand a little bit, and it's 2-2. He'll probably end up being the only Astros pitcher that qualifies. Need at least 1 inning per every game your team plays, which would be 162 on the season. Fiers comes in with 144 1/3. There's a chance no other pitcher will get to as many as 150. It's kind of what this team's made of, though. They're a team full of contributors, but there's been injuries on the pitching side. There's been offense from 1 through 9. 3-2 pitches outside, ball 4, and Reyes draws a walk to start this game. Looking at the defense behind Mike Fiers. In left field, Tony Kemp gets his second start since being called up from Fresno. Cameron Maybin, his second start since being acquired from the Angels. Josh Reddick back in right, so we do have the spider web between Maybin and Reddick in play once again. Alex Bregman and Carlos Correa, first game in 6.5 weeks. Jose Altuve and Tyler White gets the start for the injured Yuli Gurriel. Juan Centeno behind the plate. Yuli, by the way, sounds like he's pretty close to coming back. Should see him in the Seattle series as Nori Aoki takes a called strike. Aoki has always fared well in his career against Mike Fiers. He is 6 for 14 against Fiers, including a home run. Pitch misses inside. It's 1-1. Astros starters yesterday went 5 innings in 5 1/3. The bullpen on that doubleheader day had to soak up 23 outs. 7 2/3 innings worth of work. Not quite as critical if you have a 25-man roster. Expanded rosters now allow you to get away with that a little more, but you'd still like to see Mike Fiers go as deep as he can into this game. Ken Giles has been used extensively lately. Saw Joe Musgrove used for 2 1/3 innings in yesterday's game. 3-1 to count after a leadoff walk. Fiers behind Aoki. Back-to-back walks to start this game. Mike Fiers walked 3 in his last start at Tropicana Field against the Rangers. But he's done pretty well in his last 2 starts here at Minute Maid Park, but not the way he wanted this day to start.
This season at Minute Maid, the record's 3-6. The ERA is lower as far as home and road splits at 4.15. On the road, it is a 5.08. But that 4.15 took a little bit of a beating last time out. Technically, that was a home start for him in Tampa Bay against Texas. Only lasted 4 and gave up those 8 earned runs. Month of August has not been kind at all to Mike Fiers.
Pitch is a called strike.
Did he just drop his bat?
Yep.
On the call?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Just fixing his gloves.
I thought he was just like in shock of the strike call that he abandoned the bat.
Asdrubal Cabrera has become one of the more casual players out there. He has a lot of fun out there in the field. Veteran who's playing third base now for the Mets because they have a 21-year-old who they want to see at shortstop. He will hit into a double play, as you can see. Fiers has worked well this year and has worked in and out of trouble multiple times. Ground ball slowly hit towards second. In fact, so slowly that they only get the 1 out. Tyler White never went to the bag to cover. I'm not sure exactly why. And Fiers had to continue on and cover the bag.
Last I checked, that's part of the job. He went to go get it, didn't get it, and then anticipated Fiers being there. Thankfully, Fiers picked it up and kept going. Just mass chaos over there at first base as far as decision making. Luckily, Mike Fiers took advantage of it. You saw it on our Mattress Firm Supermo. Some of the indecision by Tyler White.
And luckily, it wasn't Asdrubal Cabrera's best time down the line either.
Yes.
1 out. Runners on second and third. Swing and a miss to Travis d'Arnaud. d'Arnaud coming in at .232, 10 home runs, 38 runs batted in. Mets are a team that still hit a lot of home runs. In fact, they have more road home runs than anybody in baseball. Citi Field, not exactly a home run hitter's ballpark. They have 57% of their home runs on the road. Back towards the mound, past Fiers. Correa is going to make the play. A run scores. d'Arnaud hits one softly, but he gets it past the mound, and when he did that, the Mets got their first run.
So the first of the 2 walks comes around to score. Mike Fiers would like to limit the damage to that 1 run. And the infield was playing back. If it was just a ground ball to shortstop or second base, it was going to turn out to be an out. But there was a little bit of an opportunity with the backhand attempt by Fiers right there. Would have been miraculous to make that catch and keep the run from scoring. But the Astros early on trading the out for the run.
So now Fiers faces Dominic Smith. Smith takes a called strike. Smith drove in the only run of game 2 of the day-night doubleheader. Also hit a 2-run home run in game 1. Breaking ball misses outside. It's 1-1. Fiers has faced the Mets 3 previous times. Most recently as a Brewer in June of 2015. 1-2 the count. Astros start the day not only leading the Angels in the American League West by 12.5 games. They also have that 3-game lead over the Cleveland Indians for the best record in the American League. Indians are winning again today, trying to win their 11th in a row. Up and away, it's 2-2.
Fires is having a tough time getting to the glove side early on in this start. A lot of pitches up out of the zone. The breaking ball is not coming back over that outside corner.
23 pitches, 11 strikes, 12 balls so far. Little punch shot into left field. That'll fall in for a base hit in front of Tony Kemp, and the Mets lead this game 2-0. Dominic Smith with an RBI in all 3 games of the series.
On our MD Anderson strike zone, you see the pitches up out over the plate. Fires went to the changeup. Credit Smith for just staying on it and putting it in play, going the other way.
Both walks come around to score. That was the first hit of the game, and here's Ahmed Rosario taking a strike. Rosario, the Pacific Coast League Rookie of the Year, batted .328 for Las Vegas with 19 steals. They are very excited about this 21-year-old, thinking he's their shortstop of the future. Centeno with a good stop. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Fouled off of Centeno. They caught him in the right leg. Steve Sherwater, the home plate umpire, going out to take care of the plate, even though it doesn't need to be clean. Stalling for his catcher.
Just some courtesy lawn landscaping going on.
Part of a little back and forth, catchers and umpires taking care of each other. And Centeno returned the favor because that last pitch was headed right at Sherwater's face, and he ducked. And Centeno caught it.
Tough to stay focused when the baseball is coming directly at your face.
Yeah, tough to get a strike called when the umpire is ducking. Next pitch breaks the bat on one hop, gloved by Bregman. Alex makes the throw and in time to get Rosario for the final out. But the Mets score 2 as we head to the bottom half of the first. By Southwest. At the top, George Springer, followed by Alex Bregman, Jose Altuve. We're used to that. Carlos Correa, haven't seen him since July 17th in that 4 spot. That pushes Josh Reddick to the number 5 position. Cameron Maybin in center field. Tyler, the Great White Shark, at first base, and Juan Centeno and Tony Kemp round out your Astros lineup.
On the mound for the New York Mets, 6'3", 250-pound Chris Flexen got called up from Double-A this season. He is having some serious issues with the walks. 4 of his 6 starts, he has walked a minimum of 4 hitters. So it should be an interesting afternoon for a ball club like the Houston Astros. Don't swing and miss a lot. Have some quality ABs against Chris Flexen. Fastball, slider, curveball, changeup.
That fastball misses inside for a ball, 1-0. You are so right. This is an Astros lineup that will absolutely force you into the zone. May have heard Josh Reddick talk to Julie after game 1 of that doubleheader yesterday, and he said they noticed early on that, you know, Matt Harvey was kind of on the edges and they were going to force him on the plate. And first batter of the game, Flexen misses with the first 2. It's a team that will drive up a pitch count on a starter. George takes that for the first strike. It's 2-1.
It's borderline down. What's impressive to me is that they have that mentality and that game plan, so to speak, coming into the box, but the discipline to be patient.
There's a ball hit hard off the glove of Rosario, but he recovers in time to get George for the first out.
Ball was hit hard. A little bit of an off-speed pitch, handcuffed Rosario. Good job by George getting the foot down, but watch the hand stay back as he recognizes and then drives through it. Thought it was a line out until Rosario boxed it.
Here's Alex Bregman. Bregman fouls one back. Alex coming in at 286. 16 home runs, 53 RBIs. Has been raking for really 2 months straight. Last 17 games have been impressive. Ball into shallow left field. Alex Bregman starts off the game with a base hit. Bregman had a hit in game 2, also had a hit in game 1, so a hit in every game of this series as well.
I was talking during George's AB about the ability to be patient, and it's one thing to be patient and get yourself in hitters counts, yet they continue. They don't panic. They wait for that pitch to get in the zone, and sometimes you can get a little complacent. These guys don't get complacent. When they do get a pitch they can hit like Alex just did, they're ready to unleash on it. It's pretty impressive how they've been able to continue this throughout the course of the season with these great at-bats. And the number that kind of jumped at me in the month of August when they were struggling to score runs, the one number that really dropped was the on-base percentage for me. It got down to 314, so that tells me there might have been a little bit of panic in expanding the zone and trying to do too much. The slugging was the same. They scored a similar amount of runs that they did in April when they were scuffling a little bit, but the on-base percentage went way down.
Jose Altuve with an 0-1 count. 183 hits for Altuve coming into today. Altuve had a 4-hit doubleheader yesterday. 3 in game 1 and a hit and a walk in game 2. And he's got a familiar face waiting on deck. Altuve hasn't seen him warming up behind him in 6.5 weeks. A little toss to first.
Carlos may sprint to the box. You know he's anxious to get back in the mix too.
Carlos Correa and his return to the Houston Astros. There goes Bregman, and Altuve swung at that pitch. Bregman had a really good jump.
Bregman had a great jump, and that was a curveball well out of the zone to Jose Altuve. It would have been nice to see him take that pitch, get into a 1-1 count, and have Alex Bregman at second base. He was chomping at the bit. You can see with him not looking in, that's not a hit and run. That was a choice by Jose.
So he's down in the count 0-2. Pitch upstairs. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Flexen in spring training had a little health issue. He had a bone chip in his right knee, underwent surgery. Did not start the season until the middle of May, and even then he started it in the Florida State League with the St. Lucie team, and then he moved up to Double-A. Just 7 starts at Double-A before he was called up to the big leagues. So 10 total starts in the minor leagues for a guy who had never pitched above the Class A level prior to this season. But that part of the issue is the Mets have had so many injuries to their rotation.
Well, it gives you an idea of how deep some of the issues have been for that starting rotation. And Terry Collins is the fact that they've called a guy up from Double-A. There's nothing that really jumps off the page at you as far as Chris Flexen is concerned. He was better at command in the minor leagues, having some issues here in the big leagues. But the fastball averaging 92 miles an hour. The secondary pitches have been the issue. But that's typical of young guys. Usually they have the good fastball, but it's the secondary pitches that they try and develop through the minor leagues so that when they do get to the big leagues, they're able to command.
Currently on the DL for the Mets, Noah Syndergaard, Zach Wheeler, Steven Matz. Matt Harvey was on the DL for a while. Jeff Luhnow spent some time on the DL. We have all kinds of issues with the rotation. Inside, the count's full on Altuve. Jose got down to the count 0-2, and now it's a full count. Bregman was leaning a little bit, dives back. Probably a situation where you'd see Bregman run. Trusting that Altuve would make contact here. He is off. Swing and a miss, and the throw down is going to be dropped by Reyes. Not sure if that short hopped him or not, but it squirted through nonetheless, and Bregman ends up with a steal.
It was a rather bizarre AB for Jose Altuve. Expanding early on, like you said, going 0-2, works himself to a 3-2, and then you saw it on our Andy Anderson strike zone previously. That pitch was right down the middle. Maybe they found the weakness, and that should have been a double play.
That throw was right on the money, too.
Literally. Hit him in a bad spot.
The return of Carlos Correa. Many of the fans standing. Sometimes you get those day-night doubleheaders followed by a day game. It takes guys a little while to get going. We've seen a strange cover at first. We've seen a throw on the bag. Altuve had a little strange at bat there.
Yeah, back in my day, there were ways to adapt to that. You can't do that anymore. They're checking for those things.
Want to know the count to Correa. Carlos Correa's first game back. Missed 42 games. Had that thumb injury. He gets on base, you will see him wear a little protective guard. 6.5 weeks since his surgery, he is back. And 6 weeks and 6 days since the actual injury coming in the game against the Seattle Mariners back here at Minute Maid Park. Bregman a big lead off second. Correa showing patience in his first at bat back. He has a 3-0 count.
I can only imagine what it's like to be a guy like Carlos Correa at his talent level and have to sit and watch baseball games.
Now he's got a 3-0 count in his first AB. I'm sure he's got the green light, so how patient will he be?
Yeah, he's got in his mind, he has a pitch and a location that he is looking for. And we've seen it in the past, early on in the season. If he doesn't get that pitch where he wants it, he will take it.
Good call, Plummer. That was not a good pitch for him. It was close at the knees.
2 months on the DL, 3-0 slider. Tip of the cap to Carlos Correa and everything he's done.
Wow, there's a lot of Wooston fans here. Sunday afternoon, the woos are coming through for Josh Reddick. Reddick had himself quite a doubleheader yesterday. 3 hits in game 1, 2 hits in game 2. Another 5 for 9 performance to tack on to his home average, which is currently second best in the American League. Reddick gets a breaking ball inside, 1-0. Josh overall batting at .308 on the season. That is good for 4th right now in the American League. Teammate Jose Altuve leads the way. Avisail Garcia is 2nd, Eric Hosmer 3rd. Josh Reddick has moved all the way up to number 4 in the American League in batting. On the corner, it's 1-1.
Be interesting to see how AJ uses this lineup. Josh Reddick has been swinging the bat well. You talked about the .308 batting average, doing a great job against both righties and lefties, but against right-handers, he may be the guy that protects Carlos Correa.
Hard hit, line drive, base hit. Bregman being waved home. He's going to score. Correa gets to 3rd, and the Astros on the board. It's now a 2-1 game.
And that might be a very good indication why. Having himself a great season, but also having a great season here at Minute Maid Park. But patience and ability to drive in runs is a good guy to have behind Carlos Correa, because if they choose to pitch around him and put him on first base, you've got a lethal threat behind him. Good job waiting back on the breaking ball, and that's that secondary pitch. It may have good break, good tilt, but if you leave it in the middle part of the zone, big league hitters are going to hit it.
Correa and Gary Pettis haven't had a chance to talk on the field in a while, so they're catching up there. 1st and 3rd, 2 outs. Here's Cameron Maybin. Maybin started game 1 of the doubleheader yesterday. Grounds one towards 3rd. Glove there by Cabrera. Throws to 2nd to get Reddick on the fielder's choice. But the Astros do get 1 run back on a Josh Reddick RBI, his 70th of the season. And is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. And by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. Downtown Houston, Texas. Glad to be back 2-1 ball game at the end of one. New York Mets in town, taking on the Houston Astros. Mets haven't played here since the 2012 season, back when the Astros were a National League team. Brandon Nimmo leads off and takes a called strike. Great to be back here in Houston. We have seen some good crowds, not the typical weekend crowds. We know a lot of people in the area are still recovering, and our thoughts and prayers continue to go out to everybody who has been impacted by Harvey, and we can't wait to get on that road to recovery and get everybody back to normal. I know it's going to be a long process. I just happen to be back for the weekend and hopefully give you at home a few hours of entertainment in between, which has been a very difficult time. Brandon Nimmo with a 1-2 count. But a lot of the seats that we see that are not filled in this weekend series against the Mets are a lot of season ticket areas, and you know, our thoughts go out to those people who have not been able to get here this weekend, and we really hope to see you sometime in the near future. 2-2 pitches outside for a ball. It's 3-2. Fiers walked 2 in the first inning. Both came around to score. Nimmo, Kevin Plawecki, and Juan Lagares. 7, 8, 9 as the Mets line things up the bottom third of their order. Mets wrapping up a long road trip. Lost 2 out of 3 in each of their 2 previous series. There's ball 4. Third walk issued by Fiers, and the second straight inning, a leadoff base runner. The Houston Astros have set up a website so that all fans can help raise much needed funds for Hurricane Harvey relief. Visit youcaring.com/AstrosHarvey to donate today, or visit Astros.com for a link to our giving site. Our broadcast team will make a donation at the end of this series. We're calling it K's for Recovery. Line drive over the head of Jose Altuve for a hit. Nimmo's going to go first to third as Kevin Plawecki has a base hit into right center. And the Mets are back in business in the second inning. Brent Strom, the pitching coach, is going to take a visit to talk to his starting pitcher, who's already up to 38 pitches, 2 batters into the second.
Yeah, Wild out of the zone, 3 walks already in this ball game, and then Wild in the zone too. That last pitch to Plawecki was a good pitch to hit. But again, for me, just early on, but we have seen 38 pitches. 18 of them have been out of the zone, and they've missed arm side and up. We really haven't seen him get to that glove side part of the plate. And again, the breaking ball, in order for Mike Fiers to be a good pitcher, it's got to be the fastball command. That breaking ball has been very good for him. And we have not seen either of those be very effective here early on. He hasn't had a chance to really get to that breaking ball.
You know, now that the rotation is back to full health with Lance McCullers Jr. coming back, and you have the addition of a Justin Verlander, now all of a sudden there's more spots or more starting pitchers than there are spots in the rotation. Juan Lagares is the batter. Breaking ball misses outside. And nobody, Brad Peacock and Mike Fiers, those 2 guys, nobody did more than Peacock and Fiers to steady the ship while those guys were on the DL, like Morton and McCullers and Keuchel.
Well, you found Mike Fiers doing a pretty good job through the month of June and July. Both those months, a sub-3 ERA by quite a bit, actually. June, he was 3-1 with a 2.32. July, he was 2-2. Didn't get much run support, but he had a 2.89.
June, going into his last start, had a chance to be the pitcher of the month.
Yeah.
And he had a few inherited runs score on him in that game against Oakland, ended up with a 2.32 despite that. But now decisions have to be made, and AJ says that as soon as they acquired Verlander, he started putting together the permutations in his head about where things would play out. You can't have a 7-man rotation, especially with days off. You can't have a 6-man rotation. You might be able to get away with it during a doubleheader situation next Saturday, but eventually he'll be down to 5.
There's a good breaking ball for the swing and miss. And in doing so, we all know, and it's not just Major League Baseball. It's the NFL. It's the basketball. It's what have you done for me lately? And especially when you're on a playoff contending team, you got to go out there with your best bullets.
Yeah, that 2.32 and 2.89 turning into a 7.44 in August, and this is the first start of September for Mike Fiers.
But in his defense, he has been the workhorse of this rotation.
Every 5 days. Like a metronome, just taking the ball, 27 starts, he gets the rock, and he has been out there with all the other injuries. He has been the one consistent force in this rotation. "3-2" is a check swing and a foul at the plate. So here are the choices. Obviously, you've got Fiers starting tonight, this afternoon, I should say. And then you've got the other 6 guys that
Cy Young, overly exceptional year, and a guy who could bring a little bit of noise in Charlie Morton. So I mean, those are some interesting choices.
ground ball, base hit into left field. Fiers got the ground ball, but it was in the wrong spot as Lagares hits one between Correa and Bregman for an RBI. It's now a 3-1 Mets lead as the first 3 have reached in the second inning.
Question marks around Lance McCullers Jr. Does he come back and become Lance that we saw in the first half, which was lights out? But Colin McHugh for me, and maybe I'm just a little biased, and I keep going back to the same soundbite, but after his last start, when he said his mentality going out there is to pitch like every start for him is a playoff start. I love the mentality, and he's backed it up with the performance.
Reyes around a bunt, takes a breaking ball down and in. Astros were anticipating bunt. They had White and Bregman in at the corners. We have documented the Colin McHugh September-October numbers in the past. That's usually where he thrives.
Yep, those are very good.
Swinging away this time, and Reyes pops it up. Correa will get his first play of the game. Check that, his second play of the game. He was involved in a ground ball in the first inning, and there's one away in the second. Reyes does not advance the runners. We will hear from the general manager of the Houston Astros. Jeff Luhnow will join us in the broadcast booth in the third inning today. Quite a set of circumstances for Jeff Luhnow and his staff on August 31st, acquiring 2 new players. Cameron Maybin early in the day and Justin Verlander as late as possible before the deadline. Verlander met with the media today, had a press conference prior to the game. It's kind of a unique situation with a day-night doubleheader that Verlander showed up yesterday, threw a bullpen, and then he was in the dugout during game 2, and yet today was kind of the welcome to the team, here's your hat.
Yeah, I can't put on my jersey because I actually wore it yesterday and it's in the wash, you know, so. Or it might have been the case that they're trying to still put, it's got a long name. There's a lot of letters to be putting on there, so they might have been putting all the letters on. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, there's a lot going on. But yeah, the official, you know, show was today.
1-2 pitch to Aoki, bounces up there, almost hits him, and both runners will advance. So now 2 runners in scoring position. That pitch only went about 56 feet.
Well, and with him missing to the arm side and up, maybe holding on a little bit longer on that breaking ball, trying to get it down and in.
Infield comes in with Nori batting, although the middle of the infield's kind of in a tweener halfway. The corners are in.
Come on, Mike.
Aoki walked his first time up. There's a line drive into center field for a hit. One run's going to score. The other runner being held up. Aoki is going to try to get to second base, and he is out at second base. Good job with the cutoff by Tyler White. Aoki trying to stretch a single into a double. Runs into the second out of the inning.
The Astros can be thankful for that. What a very good decision. It wasn't the greatest throw from Cameron Maybin coming in from center field, but Aoki felt that he had an opportunity to force the issue. It's a late jump at second base by Lagares for me. Doesn't mean to that play just take forever to unfold.
It's kind of been a strange start to the game in a lot of different ways.
There was a lot going on. Good job by Carlos to get that throw and put the tag on quickly.
Aoki now 7 for 15 in his career against Fires with that RBI single. It's a 4-1 game, and Asdrubal Cabrera will bat. Cabrera grounded out his first time up. Sends a line drive towards Tony Kemp. He gets back there, backhands it on the track for the final out of the inning. But the Mets add 2 more, and it's 4-1.
At SW, that's where you can find it. Which addition or call up has the best chance of impacting the Astros offense in September? Tyler White, Tony Kemp, the new Cameron Maybin, or maybe a write-in candidate of your choice. We'll let you know who wins later in the broadcast. Todd.
All right, Julio, bottom half of the second inning, both teams scoring in each of their frames so far. Mets with 2-2. The Astros with a run in the bottom half for the first, as Tyler White will lead things off. Bottom third of the Astros order, White, Juan Centeno, and Tony Kemp. Pitch misses outside from Chris Flexen. It's 1-1. White drills one towards left field, and this ball is a fair ball towards the corner. Tyler White heads to second base, and he will get there easily with a leadoff double in the bottom half of the second inning.
It's a good start for the Astros trying to answer back.
One of those games where it feels like you're going to need to score a lot to win this one.
Well, then it's a good thing you got Carlos Correa in the middle of it. But for right now, the bottom part of the order trying to get things started, trying to get on base for those guys back at the top. And Tyler White got himself a sinking fastball in that inner third and raked it. Good job of pulling in the hands.
Here's Juan Centeno. Centeno with a little looper, but that's going to be foul. In fact, wow.
Nice play.
Moving the chair and making the play at the same time.
Got to multitask. That's why they're there.
It's like, yeah, it's no problem.
September for everybody. Been doing this all year. Been here, done that.
Nice play. Oh, 1 pitch is in the dirt. Centeno coming in with a .244 batting average. He was drafted by the Mets originally back in 2007. Spent last year with the Minnesota Twins. Up high for a ball. It's 2-1. Centeno did begin his major league career with the Mets in 2013, had 10 at-bats for them that year, and then 30 more the following season before he was claimed by Milwaukee from the New York Mets. And towards left, but perfectly placed in left field to make the play is Brandon Nimmo for out number 1. One out, runner on second base. That'll bring up Tony Kemp. Tony had a 2-hit game in game 1 of this series. Went 2 for 5, including a couple of runs scored. Kemp just back from AAA Fresno. He batted .329 down there with an .845 OPS for the season. The other way, foul. It's 1-1. Kemp getting a chance to play left field. Jake Marisnick nursing a little bit of a sore groin that he tweaked when he was stealing a base in that series against the Rangers in St. Petersburg. Towards the shortstop, Rosario to first. On the play, Tyler White moves to third, so he's there with 2 away. Flexen's a guy that mentioned his short amount of time in the minor leagues this year. He was in and out of a trade initially that brought Jay Bruce to the Mets. And some concerns with Flexen coming back from Tommy John surgery in 2014. Like a lot of these guys on the Mets roster right now, getting a chance to show himself for the future. 5th youngest active roster in baseball, the New York Mets. Springer takes a strike. It's 1-1. George grounded out to shortstop his first time up. Right-hand hitters are hitting .357 this year against Flexen at the major league level. And it's 2-1. Up the middle, but right there is Reyes as he gloves it and gets Springer. Hit hard by George. That is back-to-back sharply hit ground balls off the bat of Springer. The Astros 4-1. We are happy to be joined in the broadcast booth by the general manager of the Houston Astros, Jeff Luhnow. Jeff, thank you for joining us, first of all. Was there ever a point late on the night of the 31st that you thought, oh my goodness, here we go again? Because the 31st of July, you thought you had a deal or two that didn't work out.
Yeah, there were several points throughout the day, throughout the month, in fact, where I thought the deal was not going to happen. And several points where I thought it was sure to happen, and everything in between. It was definitely harrowing, but we got the deal done with, I think, about 2 seconds to spare.
2 seconds?
Yep. That's what MLB said. They said they approved it with 2 seconds to go.
Seriously?
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive. So, I mean, you're going to have, so when the book comes out, it's going to be a good story going down to the wire. How much fun? Was that fun at least?
Well, it was nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
It was nerve-wracking. I was stuck out in California, couldn't get back because of the storm, so I was in my in-laws' house, and they didn't know what was going on. They knew there was a flurry of activity, but we hit it at the buzzer, and, you know, it's a game of seconds, just like even though there's no clock in baseball, for us general managers, it can be a matter of seconds.
So you hit the ball into right field. Josh Reddick comes on and makes a nice running play. So you hit the shot at the buzzer. What is the timestamp that makes it official?
Well, it's when MLB, there's a lot of boxes that need to be checked. All the paperwork needs to be in, the medicals, the physicals approved, and then the player approval was the last thing we were waiting for. And the Detroit Tigers actually sent someone over to Justin Verlander's apartment to get the signature, and they faxed it over or sent it over to MLB, and they approved it with 2 seconds to go.
That's amazing. But could you do a little bit? Could you explain a little bit why there was a choice for Justin Verlander, the 10-5 rule that was in place? Because ultimately it was his choice. Correct?
It was his choice. If you've been in the league for 10 years and 5 with the same team, you have the right to turn down any trade. He also had no trade protection in his contract, and most veterans do have that, and they, you know, want to go where they want to go. And fortunately, he liked what he heard about Houston. I'm sure he talked to a lot of people, and his fiancée encouraged him to follow his gut, and I think at the last moment he decided that this was going to be an opportunity for him to win a championship, and that was the most important thing.
I thought it was great, and we get bits and pieces of the contract. Tell us a little bit about the contract, because I love the fact that he's going to be here for a couple of years at least.
Yeah, there's a lot of other pitchers that got traded around the deadline that were considered rentals because they're only here for this year and they become free agents, but we have Justin Verlander not only for this year's playoff run, but for all of next year and all of the year after that, which means, you know, he's going to be on this team in our rotation, and we have a really strong young team. We're going to see this same group together next year and the year after that, which means hopefully a lot of success for us in these next few years.
Yeah, that's great news.
Jeff, how much of consideration, not just for Justin, but Cameron Maybin, not only the impact they can make on the field, but what they could mean to your clubhouse?
Well, it's huge. Both of those guys have great reputations. They were actually teammates before, and I've followed Maybin since he was in high school. And really, we want them for their skill, their ability to help us win playoff games, but it's a nice compliment when they can come into the clubhouse and add their experience, their wisdom. Both these guys have been around the league for a while, and you know, Maybin can steal a base in a critical situation. He's a good fielder. I joked with him when I called him up to welcome the organization. I wish we had traded for him a few days earlier, because he made 3 spectacular catches against us when we were in Anaheim.
He really did. You guys have done a good job on the analytics side and figuring out if these guys are good baseball players, but you really put a lot of emphasis on that clubhouse. So tell us how you go about doing that.
Well, with Maybin, it was easy because AJ was in San Diego and I think was involved in signing Maybin to his extension there, and he's got a reputation. So the way we do it is typically we talk to teammates, former teammates, the trainers, the strength and conditioning guys. Those are all guys that tend to know these players pretty well.
Figures this game was kind of dragging, and now all of a sudden you get in the booth and we have a quick 1, 2, 3 inning. Jeff, we appreciate the time.
Of course,
great
thanks.
stuff. Thank you very much. Congratulations, too.
We'll have more after this as we head to the bottom of the 3rd.
helping communities impacted by Hurricane Harvey through donations to several nonprofit organizations. They've also waived voice and text charges to those impacted, and disaster recovery equipment has been deployed throughout the region. You can make a difference with a $10 donation to the Red Cross by texting Harvey to 90999 or by visiting redcross.org.
Alex Bregman will lead things off for the Astros in the bottom half of the third inning. All Mike Fiers needed to get things under control was have his GM stop in the booth, because that was as good an inning as we've seen from Mike today after a struggle the first couple. There's a called strike to Alex Bregman. It's 0-1. We thank Jeff Luhnow for taking the time, albeit a short stay, to join us in the top half of the third inning. 2 seconds, Blummer.
It would be great to see a copy of the timestamp on that approval of that trade.
I would like to see the heart rates and pulse rates.
Yeah, could you imagine waiting for the phone call back
as the time is ticking?
Yeah.
Like, if this is not approved in the next 30 seconds, 20, 10, 9. I mean, you're down. Talk about down to the wire. Wow. 2 seconds to spare before the deadline as Bregman has a 1-1 count. Towards the middle, Rosario can't flag it down. Alex Bregman, another 2-hit game. He keeps rolling along. Jose Altuve fan watching from center field as Jose Altuve digs in. Altuve struck out swinging his first time up. Astros winning game 1 of this series in the day-night doubleheader 12-8. 20 runs scored in game 1. Only 5 in game 2. The Astros winning that game 4-1. Today some work to do, down 4-1. Astros seeing Chris Flexen the second time through. Flexen so far has the 1 strikeout, getting Altuve. He's walked 1 and he's allowed 4 hits. Walks have hurt Fiers on the other side. Mike has walked 3 and all 3 have come around to score. Altuve tried to hold up, but he went around. It's 1-1.
Altuve's a little antsy today against a guy who doesn't throw a lot of strikes.
6.6 walks per 9 inning for Chris Flexen. Jose has left the zone a couple of times in the first 2 ABs. Takes 1 there. It's 2-1. .21 hit lead in the American League over the next closest. Elvis Andrus with 162 hits. Jose Altuve with 183. Altuve trying to do something that has never happened before. No hitter has had the outright lead in hits for 4 consecutive years in the National or American Leagues. Ichiro had a 5-year streak that included being tied with Dustin Pedroia for the league lead right in the middle. Counts 3-2. Second straight full count for Altuve. Very rarely do you see a pitcher who goes through the lineup 1 time through and now plus 2 batters the second time through who has just 1 strikeout, and that strikeout being Altuve.
Excellent point.
And he had a 3-1 pitch that he missed on that last delivery. Might be a guy that Altuve just not picking up very well. There goes Bregman, grounded foul. Off the foot, Jose limping around a little bit.
Jose's a minimalist when it comes to protection. No shin guard. Occasionally we'll see that elbow pad on there, but he doesn't wear it too often. Just primarily batting gloves, a set of spikes and a stick, and he goes after it.
Down and in, ball 4. Astros with the first 2 runners on in the 3rd inning, and Carlos Correa striding to the plate. Today's Texas Auto Diamond King is Carlos Correa. Last 60 games from May 3rd until going on the DL. Hitting an Altuve like .358 with 18 home runs and an OPS of close to 1,100. Also scoring 52 runs and driving in 57 in a 60-game stretch. Chris Flexen did not mess with Carlos Correa his first time up. He walked him on 4 pitches.
He's got nowhere to put him now. And he's got a couple of runners on, and he is a high RBI type guy. In those last 60 games, you see the ranks. Big one on the bottom, and the RBI is 57 in 60 games.
So Correa with an RBI opportunity in a second at bat. Batted with a runner on second and 2 outs his first time up, but drew the walk. A lot of Astros fans happy to see Correa back in there. Carlos will get a full 4 weeks plus today to get ready for the postseason. Ball ripped into the crowd. Look out down there.
Man, oh man.
Carlos was ready on that first pitch and drilled one foul.
It is the world's largest glove, and it missed it. That is getting the head out in a hurry. It's up down the line. Maybe he was taking a shot at orbit. Tough target to miss.
That big glove or orbit?
Both.
1-1 the count.
Yeah, that was one of the larger gloves I've ever seen.
Almost to the point where it wasn't functional.
It's too big.
Yeah. One pitch taken 2-1. Flexen has walked 2 in 3 innings, which is basically right along with where he's been all year. 6.6 per 9. Down in the count, 2-1. Some tight pitches going Correa's way. 3-1. You're a young pitcher and you're ahead of the count 0-1 on Correa. You're hoping to get one of those next 2 for a called strike, and when he didn't, missed on that 4th one, and now he's in some trouble.
They're trying to work him in, and those 2, pitch number 2 and number 3, real possibility to get that call. Get that rookie zone.
Correa fouls one back. Everything in that same little cluster there in the bottom inside portion of the strike zone.
How many times can he go to that spot before Correa makes the adjustment and hammers it?
Pitch 2, 3, 4, and 5, all basically overlapping. Ground ball, base hit, Carlos Correa. Bregman being waved around. Here comes the throw. He is safe. Correa in his first game back with an RBI single.
Try to get in there again. That one stayed up a little bit, and Carlos Correa does a good job of getting on top of it, hitting it hard through that 5.5 hole. And you know, as soon as that ball gets through, Alex Bregman with a good jump is going to score easy with it. Gary Pettis sending him home. Yeah, it's got to feel good.
Carlos Correa, welcome back. RBI number 68 on the year. And here's Josh Reddick. Reddick drove in his 70th run of the year. There go the runners. The throw is not in time. Double steal. Altuve and Correa.
Mets dugout's going to take a peek at this, and it's tough as a third baseman this day and age to be able to play against a left-handed hitter and cover third base. Correa gets over there.
Mets are going to challenge. If it holds, it's Altuve's 30th steal. Carlos Correa did not have a steal all year. The Mets think they have enough here to get this thing looked at.
Safe. Is there enough there for you? I didn't see contact with the glove and leg.
On that angle, it's hard to see exactly when the glove hits the knee. I think the flying dirt's going to help the Astros case, because the flying dirt kind of obscures when the foot actually touched the bag.
So we're going to have grasshoppers, we're going to have lobster, corn dogs, we're going to have donuts, and then flying dirt as catalysts for the Astros' success.
If I was Terry Collins, I would challenge too.
Yeah,
His
it might be
pitcher-
close enough to where they see something back in New York. I agree.
His pitcher's in trouble. He's going from a possible second and third no-out situation, and then if he gets this call overturned, now it's a guy on second and 1 out, and it is pretty close, but I don't see enough. I didn't see enough of anything we've seen to overturn it. I think it's one of those, if Altuve was called out, it would stand, and if he was called safe, it would stand. At least that's what I'm hoping. Eric Cooper and the crew chief Gary Cederstrom listening back in New York. How about Correa? Hadn't had a steal all year. First game back off the DL. Boom. Along with Jose Altuve. A little double steal action, and Carlos may have his first pending this review.
Yeah, and he didn't even have to slide, which is nice because he just got that new sliding pad for his hand from Williams in Sonoma. Take the cookies out of the oven and steal a bag. It's an oven mitt.
That's all he needed all year. He hadn't even attempted a steal. Oven mitt, boom. Stolen base attempt. He and Jose Reyes and Ahmed Rosario in a lengthy discussion, as is the umpiring crew with New York. We have a decision. Oh, save!
Oh, he deked you. He almost got you.
He almost did. Cabrera saying, I thought I had you. Altuve said, I'm pretty good.
Our league leaders brought to you by Houston Methodist. Now it's a tie in the American League between teammates here in Houston. Cameron Maybin and Jose Altuve tied at 30 bags apiece with that stolen base from Jose Altuve.
This Woo stuff has gotten to the point now they're not even prompting fans on the video board, and they're just going at it. As Josh Reddick bats with an RBI single already, and a 1-0 count with 2 runners in scoring position. Now check that 1-1. There's a strike on the double steal. Little cue shot. Altuve's going to score. Everybody safe. Josh Reddick, an infield RBI base hit. It's 4-3.
That's a peach, hon. A swinging bunt for an RBI. For for Josh Reddick here at Minute Maid Park. All he has to do is touch it. Just touch it. It'll end up being a knock or something positive.
Well, you remember all those line drives that turned into outs early in the season. He was due a few of these.
Very, very good point.
Altuve scoring his 94th run of the year. He is now tied with George Springer for the team lead and tied for second in the American League behind Aaron Judge. Reddick was barely off the bag. He could basically fall back onto the bag. Mets at double play depth in this 4-3 game with runners on first and third and still nobody out. Cameron Maybin had an RBI, his very first at bat as a Houston Astro. It was in game 1 of yesterday's doubleheader. And an RBI single to right. This ball's drilled deep to left field, all the way back, gone! Maybin, a 3-run home run, and the Astros lead this game 6-4.
Number 3 is driven in 3. He was talking with Julia before game 2 yesterday, talking about hitting being contagious. It's infectious. Being on this club right now could be a little bit contagious and infectious as far as success. That was nice.
First 5 hitters in the 3rd inning all score. Bregman single, Altuve walk, Correa single, double steal, single, home run. And the Astros have turned this game around, down 4-1, now leading 6-5. Tyler White takes a pitch outside. It's 1-1. We mentioned this was going to be a fun race to see who would win the RBI title for the team. One of those games where Marwin Gonzalez is like, hey, I better not take the day off. All these guys are going to eventually catch me.
Cameron Maybin, they tried to get in the kitchen. He opened up nicely, dropped the head on it. He knew as soon as he made contact on that sweet spot, it jumped off the bat at 100 miles an hour. 26-degree launch angle. That's how you make some friends instantly. Estimated 411 feet.
How good did this inning feel for Carlos Correa? First RBI. Watching his new teammate Cameron Maybin hitting a 3-run home run. That mojo that was missing for a little while in August. 12 runs yesterday, and now another 6 in the 3rd inning today. Ground ball off the bat of Tyler White turns into a 1-4-3 ground out as it was deflected by the pitcher for the first out of the inning. But the band is being put back together again, slowly but surely. Still no Gurriel, still no Beltran during this series, but great to see Carlos Correa and George Springer as active players and Altuve right next to them laughing. This is what we've been waiting for. Juan Centeno hits the ball hard. Ahmed Rosario is there, though. Centeno's hit the ball hard twice, has nothing to show for it. A line out to left and now a line out to shortstop.
Well, as sour as things got during the month of August, we had to keep reminding ourselves of how spoiled we have been up until that point. And now it looks like we're about to get spoiled again.
It's hard to average where the Astros were prior to that month. Only 4 runs a game in August, bringing their season average down to about 5.5 runs per game. But you're right, Blummer. Not many teams put up those numbers that we saw.
Oh,
you know, we kept saying there's no way a team can average 7 runs a game on the road, and they kept, for the longest time, continuing that stretch. They finally came back to earth a little bit, but still over about 6 1/3 runs per game on the road. But yeah, August was just one of those months. And not only was Carlos Correa not there, George Springer missed 13 games in August too.
Yep.
1-1 the count to Tony Kemp. Into left field. That sends Nimmo back all the way to the wall. Looking up. It's off the wall. Tony Kemp might think about 3. He is hustling towards third. Head first. Out at third base. Good play by the Mets to get back on that loose ball as Kemp tried to stretch a double into a triple.
Cameron Maybin getting on the board in that Astro uniform. That ball was crushed in a moment they needed it.
Already in this one, as the Mets scored 2 in the first, 2 in the second. Astros with 5 in the bottom half of the third inning to give Mike Fiers the first lead of the game as he works in the fourth, facing the bottom third of the order. Brandon Nimmo, who walked and scored a run his last time up, takes a called strike. 0-1. Nimmo, Kevin Plawecki, and Juan Lagares, 7, 8, 9 for the Mets. Fiers with a 1-2-3 third inning. Still has a relatively high pitch count through 3 based on some early walks. Leadoff walks in the first and second both scored. In fact, all 3 walks in this game have come around to score for New York. Nimmo holds up. It's 2-1. Nimmo has reached in 8 straight games for the Mets. Nimmo went to the wall on that ball off the bat of Tony Kemp. Could not make the play, but it was Juan Lagares who recovered, the center fielder, who came in to make a nice play on that loose ball and throw out Kemp trying to stretch a double into a triple.
That was actually one of the more impressive hustle plays I think we've seen all year, coming all the way over from center field. And it was nice. Unfortunate, but nice.
Because it looked like Kemp was going to get there with his speed, and the ball was right in front of him. It looked like a pretty good
choice.
Good choice. And then Lagares.
No, it took an amazing play, because Lagares, not only did he sprint over there, he threw on the run on the dime. That was a pretty good play.
Foul back, stays 2-2. Fiers has allowed 4 hits in addition to the 3 walks. He has struck out 1. Ground ball, base hit into left field, going the other way. The Astros, anticipating him to pull, had the shift on. Instead, Nimmo spoils that. He's been on base both times.
It's a good look at Lagares on that play where Tony Kemp drove it off that Crawford box. You could see him kind of watching the play, and then he realized that there's going to be an opportunity. And he'll come flying out of screen right, pick it up with the glove and throw on the run.
Right on the money.
Very good play.
It's been impressive in the outfield in this series. Plays very shallow defensively too.
He does, and the question's always been about the bat for Lagares, but the speed and the instincts get him an out right there.
Want to know the count to Plawecki. Ground ball towards third. Bregman, nice short hop to Altuve, and Altuve's return throw, a double play. Bregman to Altuve to White, and they turn two. Kind of handcuffed Jose.
Oh man, he threw this baseball in a tough spot, but a good job with Correa back. Alex getting back at third base, so you've got a bunch of guys on that left side that are hyper athletic. And Bregman moving to his left. It's a tough throw as a third baseman because you're sprinting towards second base and you're not sure how hard to throw it because you're going right at the target. But then you have a tendency to hold on a little bit too tight, and you spike it and throw it right around that mid thigh where you can handcuff a guy in Altuve, just in case Bregman was wondering. Reminded him, what, hey, hit me in the chest. Yeah, next time I'm going to sling that thing. And it's good chatter between teammates.
It just, this team has fun, and there's no group that has more fun than the infielders. When Martin was there, he and Altuve, and now Correa is back with Bregman. It's a good group to watch. They have a lot of fun. Altuve giving Bregman a hard time for that throw. And now Alex gets to throw one towards first. Barehands it and gets the runner. Lagares. Alex Bregman plays some defense.
He'll be back talking to Altuve about this, but that's not normal.
Back for the bottom half of the fourth inning. Astros hitting with a 6-4 lead. Top of the order due up. George Springer. Springer's hit the ball hard twice. Nothing to show for it. Everybody's been on base except for Springer and Centeno, and those guys both have hit the ball hard twice. George hit one on a line to the shortstop Rosario his first time up, and then hit a sharp ground ball up the middle. That was gloved by Jose Reyes his second time. George down in the count 0-2 on a couple of foul balls. 8 hits already for the Astros. This ball's crushed to left field. Springer has just hit his 31st home run. Way up on the train tracks. The 4 train has just left Union Station, and the Astros lead 7-4.
Say is, that ball was crushed.
0-2.
0-2. Looked like slow pitch softball.
Astros were down 4-1. They have scored 6 unanswered runs.
Goodness.
Bobby Dynamite's having a good time up there.
Somebody get him a helmet.
0-1 to count to Bregman. Alex is 2 for 2 with a couple of runs scored.
We got to add Julia going in the train for the win that one day too.
Adding it to what?
Yeah, because
our list of memories.
The grasshoppers,
oh, yes.
the donuts, the lobster, the train ride. Yeah,
no doubt. And she was inside the scoreboard for a home run.
Oh, that's right.
Bobby's right there. He was cheering along with everybody else as that ball approached the train. Ball into center field, and Lagares makes the play. That ball was kind of knuckling on him and made the play just above the grass for out number 1.
Today's high velocity stat is brought to you by Xfinity, and that is how you unleash absolute fury on a baseball. Exiting at 106.6 miles an hour off the bat, 31-degree launch angle, estimated at 433 feet. But that's only because the building or the glass window out there stopped it. That ball was crushed.
I love that reaction running by Rich Dower at first as Altuve pops one up on the infield. Rosario and Cabrera are there. Rosario, the youngster, takes it from the veteran Hasdrubal Cabrera for out number 2. You see him looking Dower on the way by. It's like, yeesh.
It's like, yeah, I may have gotten that one pretty good.
2 outs. Those 2 guys having a little good time on that pop up. And I'll bring up Carlos Correa. Correa, a walk, an RBI single, a stolen base, a run scored. He has done a lot already in his first game back. Taking a pitch inside for a ball. It's 1-0. Astros 20-22 in the 42 games Correa missed. A.J. Hinch is not going to play Carlos Correa every day coming back from the DL. You will see an occasional day off, possibly an occasional day as the DH. Carlos fouls one away. It's a ball and 2 strikes. 7-4 Astros lead. Cameron Maybin a 3-run home run. George Springer a solo home run. Mentioned the Mets were amongst the league leaders in home runs, but in the National League, top teams are a lot lower than the American League home run leaders. Here's a ball deep to center field. Lagares all the way back to the track, and he runs it down right in front of the wall. Correa about 400 feet worth of a flyout.
It was a Springer show, hanging breaking ball in an 0-2 count, and just laying the wood to it.
Mets. You're looking at Carlos Correa. Drove in one of those runs today in his first game back, and with him, attitude was really big on knowing that it was a tough injury. He was going to be out for a significant amount of time. He had just seen Mike Trout go through the same surgery and recovery, though, so he had a good attitude about it. He really pushed himself to get back as soon as he could, and the news continued to be good throughout the entire rehab process for him. And he did not love the rehab assignment, guys. At one bit, said that he's got to continue playing well at the big league level so he doesn't get sitting down. Just from the experience in the minors, as you would think, didn't spend a lot of time down there before, but he did say the 6 rehab games were very good for him. That was the big test for that ligament in his thumb as far as just the strength and the soreness that he would feel. But, you know, you were mentioning it earlier about the playing time. With him, it won't be like we saw with George Springer with the days off as often, just because his body's fine physically and that ligament has been tested out even stronger now after the surgery. So for him, we'll likely see him play as often as he can. He obviously wants to play every day from now until the postseason so he can be ready to go when the games start to really count, guys.
All right, Julia, Jose Reyes with a leadoff single in the 5th inning as the Mets start off the 5th with their 4th leadoff base runner out of the 5 innings.
I also think it's interesting with the way the scheduling is with a couple of days off on this road trip too is going to help out giving those built-in days off for Carlos Correa too.
That's true. And Julia was mentioning with you right before the game started about all the good news, and while Carlos Correa was rehabbing, he found out the news that the Astros had acquired Justin Verlander. What was his reaction to that, Julia?
Well, Carlos Correa loves to play video games, like a lot of these guys do, and said he was in the middle of a game, found out, and threw his controller in the air, and it broke. So hopefully he can get that replaced, but in all the excitement, it's very jubilant. He threw his controller across the room. Oh, these guys.
Good time.
Julia, are you going to help him out on the road and get him a new controller?
No, he can get his own remote controller. I didn't follow up with which game he was playing either. I guess I should have done that.
Throw goes into the runner, Reyes, and now Reyes is heading to 3rd. Kemp's throw is not going to be in time. Pretty good throw by Centeno right on the runner, and it hit Reyes in the arm and shot into left field.
That's where things get a little bit interesting. Carlos Correa, that left hand is the one he hurt. See him leaving it in there. It's being slid into a little bit of contact. Pretty good throw by Centeno. And we talked about how I like it when guys let the ball travel before you tag. That one unfortunately just timed up perfectly with Jose Reyes sliding in.
And now Aoki, who just owns fires, he's now 8 for 16 in his career with another RBI base hit, his 2nd straight RBI single, and all of a sudden we have a 7-5 game. As Aoki in his 2nd game as a New York Met has now been on base all 3 times and is 2 for 2. Mets led this game 4-1. The Astros answered with 6 straight. 5 in the 3rd, 1 in the 4th, and now the Mets getting one back. It's a 7-5 game. Here's Asdrubal Cabrera. Cabrera around the bunt. Centeno on it, and he gets Cabrera. Moving into 2nd base is Nora Aoki. They're going to give Cabrera a sacrifice on that. Astros get bullpen action going for the first time in the bottom half of the 5th inning. Fires at 85 pitches. Tyler Clippard beginning to warm up.
Huh. Nothing out of those guys on the right. It's a little disappointing. Usually they've got some kind of skit for us. I've given up on watching the guy get loose. I'm watching those guys.
We mentioned day-night doubleheader and then a day game. Not everybody's full energy right now, especially the bullpen guys.
I've set the bar high. I expect a lot out of these guys.
Bullpen guys take a little while to get ready. It's 5th inning. You're not, you know, it's what it's 2:45. Bullpen guys are ready to go usually hour and a half, 2 hours after the game. They're just starting wake up. There's a breaking ball that stays in and hits the batter, Darno. So now the tying runs are on base. Aoki on second and Darno on first.
Well, they better get that second cup ready out in the bullpen.
Brent Strom checking to see how Tyler Clippard's warming up. And A.J. Hinch has heard the Clipper is ready to go, so he's going to go to the bullpen here. Tough day for Mike Fiers, unable to get through 5 innings. As the Astros lead 7-5, we'll tell you about Clippard when we come back.
Get their share of the proceeds of every Share to Care raffle for the remainder of the season to the American Red Cross and their Houston relief efforts for hurricane victims.
Top half of the 5th inning. Astros Tyler Clippard, one of the guys who was over there at the convention center on the day off Friday. He's the new pitcher for the Astros with runners on first and second and 1 out in a 2-run game.
Yeah, another newly acquired guy for the Houston Astros who is doing his part to try and raise spirits over at GRB. See the numbers on the season between 3 different teams. Again, he is a high appearance type guy, making that 60th appearance this season between those 3 teams. Last time he was out there, he threw 13 pitches in game 1 against these Mets. Gave up 1 hit, 1 earned run, had 1 punch out.
First batter he will face is the left-hand hitting Dominic Smith. Smith with an RBI single his first time up is 1 for 2. He has 9 RBIs in his last dozen games. Sends the first pitch high in the air, shallow left. In fact, it's so shallow Correa is calling off Kemp and puts it away for out number 2. So 1 pitch and Clippard retires Smith. Now Clippard will face Ahmed Rosario. Clippard's normally going to be a guy you'll see in the 7th inning, 8th inning, 9th inning. AJ brings him on in the 5th inning because he feels like this is a pretty critical spot in the game, with this game going back and forth and the tying runs on base and 2 outs. There goes the runner towards third. Aoki has stolen a base on a called strike. Nori picks up his 6th steal of the year. Rosario is grounded out and flied out. Clippard ahead 0-2. Rosario came into game 2 of the doubleheader, started game 1, and went 2 for 4 in game 1, then entered game 2 after Wilmer Flores fouled a pitch off his nose. We learned today that Flores broke his nose, and he will head back to New York and be re-examined on Tuesday. Up and in to Rosario. It's 1-2. Clippard trying to keep this at a 2-run game as we play in the 5th.
So the acquisition of Verlander kind of gives you some comfort in the rotation. Now it's a matter of A.J. Hinch trying to figure out that bullpen. I agree with you in the sense that A.J. Hinch feeling here in the 5th inning that this is a high leverage type situation to bring in a guy like Tyler Clippard. But those are the options and decisions that A.J. is going to have, where and when to use these guys. Does he feel this is the moment in the game where he needs to shut this team down and get them back in the dugout?
You know, the other factor with Verlander, in addition to everything else we've talked about that he brings to the table, is that, you know, Dallas, with Lance being hurt, Dallas was the one guy you could kind of count on for those solid innings. And when your bullpen goes 3 straight starts like they have, and again, it's expanded now, so it's a little different, but 3 straight starts, 5 innings, 5 1/3, and today 4 1/3, your bullpen gets tested. And if you can have a guy like Verlander who can chew up some innings, and now Clippard hits Rosario on the 1-2 pitch, so the bases will be loaded. 2 hit by pitches in this inning. Fires hit d'Arnaud, and now Tyler Clippard hitting Rosario. The Mariners will get the brunt of the Astros rotation with Keuchel tomorrow, Justin Verlander in his Astros debut on Tuesday, and the return of Lance McCullers Jr. on Wednesday. Day off Thursday, and Colin McHugh starts the series against the A's in Oakland.
That's back-to-back starts between Keuchel and Verlander, where your bullpen pretty much could take a nap until about the 7th or 8th inning.
Let's hope so. That's the plan.
Well, that's their history too.
No doubt. That's the nice thing, as mentioned, you know, all of a sudden this bullpen been used up a lot in this series. Plus you're playing 3 games in a 2-day stretch. So if you're looking for 2 guys that you want to go deep, that's pretty good too to start in Seattle.
Plus, if the offense continues to swing the bats like they have on this homestand, my goodness, this 3-game home set, I'm not counting Tampa Bay as part of this homestand.
True.
That was not pretty.
Yeah, you almost think of this as a 3-game homestand, which basically
it just hit me when I said homestand. That technically counts as part of the homestand.
1-1 the count to Brandon Nimmo. Tying run at second base with 2 outs in the 5th inning. Two and 1 the count. Nimmo has walked and singled. He was on base 3 times in game 2. Three and 1. Clippard, after retiring Dominic Smith on 1 pitch, hitting at Ahmed Rosario with a 1-2 pitch, and now he's down to the count 3 and 1 on Nimmo. Ball 4 forces in a run. Norioki crosses the plate. It's now a 7-6 game. Brent Strom out to talk to his reliever. No other action going on in the Astros bullpen, so this is Tyler Clippard's inning. All three runners on base. Hit by pitch, and a walk.
Clippard's a veteran, been around a while. He is not foreign to these situations. I'm sure Brent Strom's out there trying to just offer words of encouragement, maybe take his mind off what just happened, or maybe if he did see a flaw in the delivery and help him correct it.
Bases loaded, 7-6 game. Kevin Plawecki is the batter. Of the guys on base, runner on third is Fire's responsibility. Darno hit by a pitch. Fires now has hit 13 batters on the season. That's the high total in the American League. The other two are the responsibility of Tyler Clippard, trying to work through this fifth inning. Plawecki has singled and scored and grounded into a double play. Ball's hit down the left field line, but hooking foul. That was home run distance, but foul for strike two.
Whew, okay.
Mets came back in that first game of the doubleheader after being down 10-2. Scored 5 runs in the fifth inning of that game, including a grand slam by Wilmer Flores. See if Clippard can finish off this inning here. Called third strike. Clippard leaves the bases loaded, filled with Mets, and it's 7-6 heading to the bottom half of the fifth inning. Josh Reddick will lead things off for the Astros when we come back. Net is presented by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. We've had some very different games so far in this 3-game series. 20 runs combined in game 1 of the doubleheader, 5 runs combined in game 2 of the doubleheader. And then today we've got 13 runs just halfway through this game as the Mets go to their bullpen for the first time, and Chasen Bradford's the new pitcher.
We have seen Chasen Bradford in this series making his 20th appearance, 22 2/3 innings pitched, 20 punch outs. Those walks are relatively high at 9 in only 22 2/3 innings pitched. We saw him in game 2. He went a third of an inning. Pretty high ground ball percentage also.
Josh Reddick having himself a nice game. A couple of hits, a couple of RBIs. Also having a nice series. Josh is 7 for 11 against the Mets. Takes a called strike from Bradford. It's 0-1. 7-6 game. Mets have scored in 3 of the 5 innings. The Astros have scored in 3 of the 4. One and 1 the count. Bradford takes over for the starter Chris Flexen, who will have stayed for 4 innings, allowed a couple of home runs, including a 3-run shot by Cameron Maybin. Also allowed George Springer's 31st home run of the season. George will continue to increase his career high with every subsequent home run this year. In the left field, following quickly, Nimmo comes on and makes a running catch for out number 1. Reddick retired for the first time today. That'll bring up Cameron Maybin. Maybin's home run his last time up, his 7th on the season, his first as an Astro. Cameron with 4 runs batted in this series and a couple of starts. Round with bunt, bunts it foul, and he is out. He was out of the batter's box when that hit him, and Cameron Maybin bunts into an out.
It was unfortunate.
A.J. Hinch is going to talk to Stu Sherwater. I think they got it right, actually.
It's weird how the ball just kind of bounced up and settled right there. Left foot's in the box when he makes contact. But the body was clearly going towards first.
It was a ball in fair territory.
Yeah.
That hits the runner. So Maybin is put out, catcher unassisted. The Astros and Majestic have developed a Houston Strong t-shirt with the net proceeds benefiting the American Red Cross and the Houston relief efforts. Shirts are currently available at the team store in the stadium or available online at MLBshop.com/Houston_Astros_gear. So Blum has his Houston Strong t-shirt.
Represent.
2 outs, base is empty. Tyler White the batter, and Bradford drops in the first strike.
That is well represented right there.
Flexen did not have a 1-2-3 inning in the first 4. Bradford has retired the first 2 batters and ahead of Tyler White, but now the count evens up at 1 apiece. White doubled and also grounded out his last time up, 1 for 2. White drives one deep to left center field. Lagares all the way back, looking up, and this ball one hops against the fence. White thinking about 3, but he'll hold up with a 2-out double, his 2nd double of the game.
See Tyler get White hot in bunches at times. Right here doing a good job. Really a similar pitch on that inner third, but he does a good job of staying inside it a little bit longer and driving it to left center field. Puts himself in a scoring position with 2 outs for Juan Centeno, who's actually hit the ball pretty hard the last couple times up.
He has 2 balls right on the line, both caught. One by the left fielder Nimmo, one by the shortstop Rosario. You mentioned White can get hot. He had those home runs in 3 consecutive plate appearances earlier this year. Centeno takes a pitch outside for ball 1. 10th hit of the game for the Astros. 2 doubles by White. A couple of home runs, Springer and Maybin. 2-0 the count to Centeno. Centeno is not much of a home run hitter. Became the first Astro to hit home runs in his first 2 games. Towards second base, Reyes to his right. And Jason Bradford has himself a shutout 5th inning. We head to the 6th, 7-6.
We go to the 6th. There we go. Time to play Name That Astro, presented by your local Honda dealer. These are your 3 clues for the day. Teddy ball game, Hold That Tiger, Boston Tea Party. Remember to tweet us at ATT Sportsnet SW. You want to hear who you think it is? We'll let you know a little bit later in the broadcast. Todd?
Teddy ball game. That's Norioki.
Yeah, is he here? He's here.
At least has Blummer's name for him.
Only when he was an Astro.
Oh, okay.
But that was his Astro name.
It was named that Astro. Will Harris takes over in the 6th inning.
Making his 37th appearance, trying to work back into form out of that bullpen, pitching in some crucial situations for A.J. Hinch. Cut fastball, big breaking ball, true 12-6er.
There is that breaking ball. He starts off Juan Lagares. Just missed the zone. It's 1-0. Lagares, the number 9 hitter, has singled, knocked in a run, and then retired on a great play on the bare hand by Alex Bregman. Pitch misses up and in. It's 2-0. Mets have had the leadoff runner on in 4 of the 5 innings. There's been one 1-2-3 inning in this game, and it came in the top half of the 3rd. Lagares tests Bregman again, and again Bregman passes the test. No matter where he plays on the left side of the infield, Bregman continues to shine.
Good job on the back end, moving through it. Also give a little bit of credit to Tyler White. Good stretch to stay on the bag.
White getting a start again at first base today. A.J. Hinch said before the game they anticipate having Yuli Gurriel back for the series in Seattle. Here's Jose Reyes. Single walk, a couple of runs scored. He's also popped up. Stole his 17th base of the year. Someone asked on Twitter how you score that play from Cameron Maybin. It's just a 2 unassisted. The catcher, the closest defender to that play when Maybin was out of the batter's box. The ball struck him, so just a put out 2. There's a line drive in a left center field. Reyes is on for the 3rd time today. Kemp gets over and cuts it off nicely to make sure Reyes doesn't think about 2. So he's a 1-out base runner.
The Houston Astros have set up a website so that all fans can help raise much needed funds for Hurricane Harvey relief. Visit youcaring.com/AstrosHarvey to donate today, or visit Astros.com for a link to their giving site.
Aoki. Aoki has been on base all 3 times, a walk, a run scored, and a couple of RBI singles. He's actually scored 2 runs and knocked in 2. Mike Fiers pitched in a game here 4 weeks ago today. Aoki, who's been a nemesis for Fiers, was playing for Toronto then. Hit a home run in that game, and today 2 for 2 with a walk against Fiers. Pitch down low from Will Harris. It's 1-1. Tyler Clippard pitched 2/3 of an inning. Hit a batter, walked a batter. Now Harris in the 6th. Astros bullpen 4 innings in game 1, 3 2/3 in game 2 yesterday. Today they will need 4 2/3 innings if this game goes 9. 2-1 the count to Aoki. There goes Reyes. Pitch is low, no chance for Centeno. Reyes had a pretty good jump. He has stolen his 2nd of the game and now 18 on the year. Closing in on Ichiro. Ichiro unlikely to add much to that total at this point of his career. There's a strike. 3-2 the count. With Nori before the game. Still can speak English, although Kosuke was there as interpreter. I said, good to see you again. He's like, I hope I don't see you again, though.
Don't take it personally.
Yeah. I said, maybe after the season for golf. He's like, yeah, I'll let go. There's a ground ball back to Will Harris. Throw to first in time, and Reyes will move to 3rd. That's the 2nd out of the inning. Reyes advancing on the throw. Julia, what do you have for us?
Well, Nori opened up a bag he hadn't seen in a while, and it had blue and orange cleats that he had worn with the Astros. Said, hey, I can still wear these with the Mets. That's just the kind of year that Nori Aoki's having this year. So he was thrilled to find out that he could stick with the same cleats or keep wearing them.
Got back to his color scheme.
There you go.
He's going to be the only guy that lives in Houston and plays for every visiting team that comes through. Just going to continue to get traded or picked up on waivers by every team that follows. So who's on the schedule next? White Sox.
White Sox by the time we get back around, yeah.
Yeah, maybe he'll be a White Sox next time we see him.
Here's Asdrubal Cabrera. Reyes on 3rd base in a 1-run game and 2 outs. Cabrera sacrifices last time up. Fouls one into the crowd. Left-hander Tony Sipp begins to loosen up in the Astros bullpen. Dominic Smith, left-hand hitter, is 2 batters away. might be the guy that AJ's thinking about with Sip warming up. There's a swing and a miss, and Harris ahead 1-2 on Asdrubal Cabrera. He got him. Harris with a strikeout with a tying run on third base. We head to the bottom half of the 6th inning. It's 7-6 Astros. Impacted by Hurricane Harvey through donations to several nonprofit organizations. They've also waived voice and text charges to those impacted, and disaster recovery equipment has been deployed throughout the region as well. You can make a difference. Here's how. $10 donation to the Red Cross by texting Harvey to 90999 or by visiting redcross.org. Tony Kemp takes a called strike as the bottom of the 6th gets underway. Kemp has doubled and also grounded out. Tony was thrown out trying to stretch a double into a triple to end the 3rd. Jason Bradford in his 2nd inning of work kind of restored some order to this game for the Mets after Chris Flexen had a tough start, allowing 7 runs in 4 innings. Out at the plate, it's 1-2. It'll be Kemp, and then the top of the order, George Springer and Alex Bregman. Luke Gregerson begins the throw in the Astros bullpen as A.J. Hinch may look to piece this game together 1 inning at a time. On the ground, sharply hit, but right at Rosario. Makes the play for out number 1. Kemp now 1 for 3. Some of those Houston Strong shirts showing up throughout Minute Maid Park. They are going to be a popular item. Get them online, get them here at the team store. Now the guy who just hit a ball onto the train tracks in his last at bat, George Springer, will bat. Springer hit his 31st home run of the season his last time up. He's 1 for 3. He's hit the ball hard all 3 times. When George hit his 30th yesterday, he became the first leadoff hitter to reach 30 home runs since Mike Trout in 2012. That pitch misses in. It's 1-1.
You see the gesture he made towards the guy who caught the 30th home run ball?
I did not.
Caught Mike Acosta walking through the tunnel, does the authentication for the Houston Astros, and got the baseball for George. George returned a pair of autographed cleats and an autographed bat to the guy who caught the fly ball, or caught the home run ball.
That's awesome.
Yeah, said what's he going to do for 31 through 35?
Norioki comes in and makes the play for out number 2. Julia?
Hey guys, well, with Carlos Correa out, the thing about this team really changed, lineup change. They needed guys to step up. Alex Bregman did exactly that. Played a great shortstop, natural position, but offensively, check this out. To start the year, this is 88 games before Correa was injured. He had 257, 754 OPS, but 41 games while Correa was out, hitting 344, OPSing 1,000. So pretty impressive stuff, and I'll say that's stepping up. But today, sliding over to third, and then staying in that 2-hole. He's having himself a pretty good day.
Certainly is. Been fun to watch Bregman as the season rolls on. Huge July, huge August, has that average up to 289. Seems like every day you look at that number, he creeps a little bit closer towards 300.
Stealing bags too. Been aggressive on the base paths.
Pops this one up, and this will be the first 1-2-3 inning for the Mets today if they make this play, and they do. Cabrera puts it away. So we're through 6 in a 7-6 Astros lead.
In that Astro, presented by your local Honda dealer. 3 clues. That's all you got today. Teddy ball game, hold that tiger, Boston Tea Party. Alex Bregman. I don't think I had too many correct guesses on Twitter. I think we stumped everybody. Grandfather helped sign Ted Williams as Texas manager.
That is doing some in-depth research. I'll take your word for it. You were way off with the Ted Aoki. Way to go, Todd.
I think I threw everybody off, or you did.
You
indirectly
did.
By nicknaming
You
that.
said Ted.
I know, but
I didn't say Ted.
your nickname that threw everybody off. Luke Gregerson's the new pitcher.
Well, it was in reference to Ted Williams. Luke making that 57th appearance. Got that ERA under 4. He's pitched very well on the road. Trying to get those numbers corrected here at home.
He'll face 4, 5, and 6 in the Mets lineup, and starts off Travis d'Arnaud with a swing and a miss. Will Harris pitched through the 6th inning, allowed a hit. Tyler Clippard had 2/3 of an inning in the 5th, and now it's Luke Gregerson in this 1-run contest. Jason Bradford did a nice job out of the Mets bullpen. 2 innings of 1-hit baseball. Sure is Familia beginning to throw now in the Mets bullpen. High pop-up, shallow center. Correa drifts back. Carlos calls off Cameron Maybin and puts it away for out number 1. Good to see Carlos back out there as Familia begins to warm up. Carlos makes some plays out there in the shallow outfield. Now that was a relatively routine play, but he could make some plays on balls that sometimes would fall in with other shortstops out there.
Yeah, we've seen it plenty of times in the highlight reels. Does a good job playing out of that shift, getting himself in pretty amazing position to make some plays that you wouldn't think would be made.
Here's Dominic Smith. Smith chops one foul. Smith drove in a run his first time up with a single the other way. He's 1 for 3 in the game. It's a Mets team. I mentioned the injuries. That's a big part of their season, but also they made some deals, moving a number of veteran players through the season. So guys like Dominic Smith getting a chance to play, and he's making the most out of it this series as he just doubles to the wall with 1 out. Smith with his 2nd hit of the game. And that is his 5th hit of the series. Astros Foundation will commit their share of the proceeds of every Share to Care raffle for the remainder of the season to the American Red Cross and their Houston relief efforts for hurricane victims. ucaring.com/Astros Harvey. There's the 50-50 total today, 22,230. See that K total to the right of that? That's our total.
Yeah, we need some help.
We need some more strikeouts today for our Ks for recovery. We got off to a great start, 15 in game 1 of this series. Added 7 more to that total last night, but only 3 so far today. In case you haven't heard, Plummer, myself, Julia, Steve Sparks contributing as a group $100 for every strikeout this weekend. That will go to ucaring.com/Astros Harvey. We're up to $2,500 for the weekend, but we could use a few more strikeouts. It's 0-1 to Rosario. That's outside. It's 1-1. On the ground, Bregman has it on a couple of hops. Rosario is retired, and there's 2 away. Astros are not going to mess with Brandon Nimmo. He'll be intentionally walked, and he's on base for the 4th time. 3 walks and a base hit for Nimmo. That'll bring up Kevin Plawecki. Plawecki has singled and scored a run, 1 for 3 in the game. And there's a slider for a strike. It's 0-1. Luke Gregerson, the 3rd reliever of the game for the Astros. Pitch outside. 1-1. The Indians train continues to roll. They win 11-1 today in Detroit. They have now won 11 in a row. Astros need to win to stay 3 games ahead of the Indians for the best record in the American League.
Picked a heck of a time to get hot.
Into center field. Maybin is there and puts it away for the final out of the inning. Hit pretty well by Plawecki, but at the Astros center fielder, Cameron Maybin. A base hit and an intentional walk. 2 men left on base. 7th inning stretch time at Minute Maid Park with the score of the Astros 7 and the Mets 6. We'll stay right here for God Bless America.
What we have witnessed, what makes us proud to be Americans, is that we've seen everyone reach out readily, willingly, and unconditionally to offer our aid, the comfort and the love to those in their time of need. We are thankful and we are humbled by the generous support of everyone from coast to coast across this great nation. We pray for those we've lost, and we pray for the recovery of our beautiful city. God bless Houston, God bless Texas, and God bless America. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss K.D. Smith.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home sweet home. God bless America, my home sweet home.
Toyota. Carlos Correa back in that lineup. And how about the Astros in this series? So far, 23 runs, 36 hits. You know, a number that I talk about a lot, and I love to see numbers get big on are those 12 for 36 with runners in scoring position. How about the opportunities that these guys are creating by getting on base? They're getting back to their old ways of getting on base, creating opportunities, taking pitches, being patient. And we've also seen when they get that pitch that they like to drive, they are hammering it.
Correa, Maybin, Springer, all getting the job done today. Maybin and Springer with the hug, the 2 home run hitters. See if the Astros can add to this lead as they face a new pitcher for the Mets, Juris Familia. Familia comes on, spent a lot of time on the DL for the Mets this year. He's in a big spot in the lineup right here, Terry Collins, and he hits Altuve with the first pitch, right on the left hip.
That was aggressive. It's rather interesting. Familia throws pretty hard, but that was right at Altuve. Averaging 96.5 miles an hour on the fastball. You can see right there the respect given to Jose Altuve, saying, "My bad."
Nobody throws harder out of the bullpen than Juris Familia for the Mets, and he hits Altuve. Leadoff base runner. Here's Carlos Correa. Altuve stole his 30th base of the season earlier today. That matches Cameron Maybin for the league lead. Familia was on the DL from early May to late August. There goes Altuve, and we have a new league leader. Maybin had the title for a short amount of time earlier in this series, and now Altuve takes it back with 2 steals today.
In case you were wondering if Altuve's hurt, he's fine. I love that he steals early in the count too. Gives Carlos Correa a couple of more pitches to work with him in scoring position. It's going to take a lot more than that to hold Jose Altuve down. Don't be shocked if he takes off here pretty quick for third also.
Love Correa, statue at the plate on a good pitch.
These guys understand how to play the game together.
Hits that ball fairly well, but at the third baseman, Cabrera. Altuve's going to try and get to third, and he will! Jose Altuve. Doesn't count as a stolen base, but the same effect on a ground out. Correa is out, now Altuve to third with 1 away.
He's amazing. There's so many different ways that he is able to create. Gets infield hits, steals bags, puts pressure on the defense. It's a tough play for a third baseman, and you're not expecting a guy like Carlos Correa to move the runner. You want him to drive in runners. That is a veteran third baseman, and as Drupal Cabrera at third base. But when you have a burner at second base, you know the opportunity is there for him to take that bag. You just got to make sure you get an out.
Not much more he could do.
Yeah, you've got to make the throw across the diamond to make sure you at least get 1 out.
Now the infield in for Josh Reddick. Takes a pitch up and away, 1-0. Familia has struggled since coming back from the DL. Mentioned he was on there from May 11th through August 25th. Got a clot in his right shoulder, and he's allowed 4 runs in 3 1/3 innings since coming back. One and 1 the count to Josh. Reddick with 2 hits, 2 RBIs. Up to 71 runs batted in on the year. He has 71 runs batted in. Altuve 72. Springer 74. Marwin Gonzalez not starting today. Has 76 for the team lead. Correa up to 68 with an RBI earlier today. In the dirt, nice block, Plawecki. It's 2-1.
Now, the Astros may not have that 1/100th RBI guy, but they're going to have several guys at 80+.
I was asking Astros PR today, and maybe we can look it up at some point. The highest run total for any team in MLB history without a 100 RBI guy. Astros may be making a bid for that record this year. Two-one pitch in the air to center field. Lagares, who plays a shallow center, he'll catch up with it, but Altuve can walk home as the Astros tack on an insurance run. It's now 8-6.
12 sacrifice flies now for Josh Reddick, who is just an RBI machine.
One off the Astros franchise records set by Jeff Bagwell. 72 RBIs on the year for Josh.
He was ready for that elevated fastball. Easy pitch for Josh Reddick to drive to the outfield, and plenty deep enough for Jose Altuve to trot home.
This dugout is Very happy about the RBI by Reddick and about the runs scored today. This offense clicking for 24 runs so far in this series. 12 in game 1, 4 yesterday in game 2, and now 8 more today. Breaking ball to Cameron Maybin for a called strike. Devo the Dragon, Chris Davinsky, warming up in the bullpen in this 8-6 game. Clippard came on in the 5th, Harris in the 6th, Gregerson in the 7th. It looks like possibly Devo in the 8th. And Giles has been used often lately. We'll see if he's available for the 9th.
Well, if that does happen, A.J. Hinch will have gone through his bullpen in numerical fashion, starting with the lowest number in Tyler Clippard to Will Harris to Luke Gregerson. Devo coming in. Ken Giles is next.
That's pretty cool.
That's what I'm here for.
That's what you're there for. And Rosario, who's normally a pretty good defensive player, ends up knowing he had to rush a little bit on that ball. Watch it pop out of his glove.
Yeah, that's the speed from Cameron Maybin. Putting pressure on the defense. Ball chopped. Hands got a little stiff coming in for that in-between hop.
Nice to have another burner on the team.
Astros love speed.
There's nothing else, so you do exactly what you just saw. You put some pressure on the guy defensively.
Now he could take off running if he wants, steal that bag and put himself in scoring position. Well, it's a bonus. It's a 2-base error.
Altuve just took the lead in steals.
So you know he's taking off is what you're trying to say, right?
Maybin led the league in steals coming into the game, and now Altuve has passed him with a 2-steal game. Cameron may try and steal here with 2 outs in a 2-run game. And Familia is familiar with that, and so he checks him at first. That'd be fun if they keep pushing each other.
Yeah, it would be.
I got 31, you have 30, I got 32, you got 31. Let's keep going. Maybin with a big lead. Stays. Pitch to White is fouled off into the Mets dugout. Tyler White, a couple of doubles and 3 at bats. There goes Maybin. Pitches a breaking ball for a strike, and Maybin is out at second base. Good throw by Plawecki to get Cameron Maybin for the final out of the 7th inning. So it's 8-6. We head to the 8th.
benefiting the American Red Cross and the Houston relief efforts. These shirts are currently available at the team store in the stadium or available online at MLBshop.com/Houston_Astros_gear. You can also donate at ucaring.com/Astros Harvey.
Part of our crew right there.
They're Houston strong. It has been a long week for a lot of the TV crew, and they've done a phenomenal job.
Yeah, Adam hanging out with us all through that last road trip, extending his time with us, directing games. We want to thank him, and everybody stepped up as Chris Davinsky pitches the 8th inning in an 8-6 game. You guys ended up doing pre-post games a couple of extra times while the studios were unavailable for a few games on the road.
Yeah, there were some interesting situations, but everybody made it look pretty for us. Julia did a phenomenal job also hosting both the pre and post for that extended amount of time too.
On Lagares with a 4-pitch walk as Davinsky misses coming out of the bullpen on the first 4. Julia.
Hey guys, just talking about the TV crew that stepped up here, and everyone had family back at home. Hard for us all to watch everything that was taking place back in our hometown while we were on the road, especially for these players. I know we've talked about it a lot, but Charlie Morton being one of those guys, and in game 1 yesterday, he made that start, and he was talking about how emotional it was when they were playing the video and they were doing the tribute to the first responders, and they were playing the song that Coldplay had just done on Houston. He said, I was trying to focus, but really hard when you look back at what everyone's gone through and what they're going to have to go through. And his family was stuck in Houston during all of that. They were stranded, and they were okay. They had power, food, but definitely stranded there. And it's his wife and his 3 little kids and his 2 golden retrievers, and he made the start in Anaheim. And he said that when he walked through that door and was able to give his family a hug and long, kisses, and just know that everyone was together and okay, there was such a sense of relief. And I think everyone felt that as soon as they landed in Houston.
Yeah, Charlie's been, very emotional about it and very strong with his sentiments towards the city, and talked about it after the game in Anaheim, how he felt like that was not only a nice win for the team, but he felt like it was a win for the city. There goes the runner Lagares, and bunting at it is Aoki, and bunts it foul. Lagares trying to steal second. Instead, he'll go back.
Hey, he went to Williams-Sonoma.
Yep. A lot of chefs out there today.
Yeah, a lot of baking going on in the offseason.
Nori's been on base 3 times today. A couple of RBI hits, a walk, a couple runs scored. Also grounded out back to the pitcher. Leadoff walk and then a fly out by Jose Reyes. Astros lead 8-6 in the 8th. Close at first. So many guys in the bullpen when you expand rosters. I mentioned the Mets have a dozen guys in their bullpen. They had so many guys in the bullpen. I think I'm seeing 2 left-handers warming up at the same time. I am. Jerry Blevins on the right, Josh Smoker on the left. Ball into left field. Kemp will drift back, and he'll play this one off the wall. Nori Aoki is on base for the 4th time with his 3rd hit. The play to second is not in time. Aoki with a double. Now the tying runs are on base with 1 out in the 8th inning. Nori just signed with the Mets yesterday, playing in his 2nd game. Had a hit in game 2 of the doubleheader. Now 3 hits in this game.
Remember that thing I told you about revenge ABs?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sometimes they come back and get you. Aoki pretty comfortable. I mean, he's majority of his ABs here at Minute Maid Park, no matter what team he's been on.
Here's Asdrubal Cabrera. number 3 hitter. 0 for 3 with a sacrifice bunt. Takes pitch inside from Davinsky, 1-0.
Maybe Aoki could just sign a Minute Maid Park contract. Just sit in the visiting clubhouse and wait for the next team to roll through.
Just be the designated player on every team.
Yeah.
The change up called strike, 1-1. Davinsky pitched that final game at Tropicana Field against the Rangers on Thursday. Picked up 7 outs in that victory, 2 1/3 innings. Coming back here and trying to work out of a 2nd and 3rd 1-out situation in the 8th. Ahead of Cabrera, ball and 2 strikes.
Bit of a slider there from Davinsky, who's normally a fastball changeup guy to left-handed hitters.
No chase up. It's 2-2. Cabrera stays alive.
Fighting off the COD.
Astros with the infield back with 1 out. They will trade an out for a run in this 2-run contest. Swing and a miss. Davinsky goes upstairs and gets Cabrera. Big strikeout. 2nd out of the inning.
There we go. Cabrera punched out on a fastball earlier. This one up and in, unable to lay off. And again, if you're sitting on that changeup or have that changeup in the back of your mind, you're looking down in the zone, all of a sudden you see heat up. It's tough to catch up to it.
Brent Strong with a little meeting on the mound for Chris Davinsky as he will face Travis d'Arnaud with 2 outs and 2 on. Extended conversation between Devo and Strami. d'Arnaud 0 for 3. He's been hit by a pitch. Normally a catcher, today in the designated hitter role. Change up blocked by Centeno. It's 1-0. Runner on third base is Lagares. He walked to start the inning. Norioki, the former Astro, at second base, on for the 4th time today. Called strike, 1-1. Into center field, Maybin all the way back, still moving towards the track, reaches up, makes the catch in front of the wall. Cameron Maybin runs it down in center, and the Astros lead 8-6 as we head to the bottom half of the 8th inning.
Everyone for voting in our poll at ATT Sportsnet SWs, where you can find these. Which late edition or call-up has the best chance of impacting the Astros offense in September? Look at Cameron Maybin, 69% of the vote. Saw him make a great running catch there in the 8th, but taking a look at all the things that Cam Maybin can do, this is why the Astros went out and got this guy. The speed. Of course, he takes a lot of pride in his defense, but how about the 3-run homer today, guys?
And a nice running catch to end the inning, Julia.
How is he going to steal all these bases if he keeps hitting homers?
Oh, he and Altuve in a nice little race right now for the league lead.
Altuve's fine with the homers. Hang on to that lead.
Tyler White was the batter when Maybin was thrown out trying to steal to end the 7th inning. Maybin in steals this year is now 30 for 36. Altuve is 31 for 37. So they're almost on the exact same pace with caught stealings too. Tyler White, a couple of doubles and a ground out. And he's 3 for 4. Tyler White with a leadoff base hit to start off the bottom half of the 8th inning. White getting a chance to start today with Yuli Gurriel nursing a little injury, and Tyler having a nice game. That'll be the last batter Juris Familia will face as Terry Collins jumps out of the dugout. He had a couple of lefties warming up with Juan Centeno and Tony Kemp due up. He will go to one of his lefties in the bullpen. He had both Smoker and Blevins warming up. We'll tell you which one comes in when we come back. Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by Toyota. Let's go places. A lot of offense on this Sunday afternoon from Minute Maid Park. The Astros leading 8-6. Runner on first base. Nobody out in the 8th inning after the base hit by Tyler White. Terry Collins goes to the bullpen once again. And his 3rd reliever of the game is the left-hander Josh Smoker.
Made his 42nd appearance. 53 punch-outs and 45 1/3 innings pitched. Is 0 runs allowed since August 9th. Fastball, he throws firm, 94.5 miles an hour. Changeup and a curveball.
He will face Juan Centeno here. Centeno hit the ball hard his first 2 times up. Nothing to show for it. He's around a bunt, drags it foul. Astros currently have 2 left-handed hitting catchers on their roster as the only active catchers, Centeno and Brian McCann. That will change tomorrow as Max Stassi will come off the disabled list. And shortly after that, we should see Evan Gattis as he will start a rehab assignment as well. Pitch outside to Centeno. It's 1-1. So the Astros eventually will have 4 healthy catchers ready to go for the month of September. A couple of lefty hitters, a couple of righty hitters. Centeno does get the bunt down. Fielded by Smith. He'll make the play. Reyes covering. Sacrifice successful by Juan Centeno. Now to move Tyler White into scoring position.
Nicely done. That'll get Centeno some love in that dugout.
A.J. Ramos is warming up in the bullpen, so Tony Kemp, with that in mind, if you pinch hit a righty, may go to Ramos. Instead, they'll leave lefty on lefty here as Kemp will face Josh Smoker. Astros lead by 2, trying to add to that lead in the bottom half of the 8th inning. Tony has doubled off the wall and left in 3 at bats. People at home think about potentials for a pinch hitter. They may wonder why Marwin's not pinch hitting. AJ seems to really like giving guys the entire day off, if at all possible.
Yeah, it's more or less almost a mental break for these guys, and he opts out not to give those guys that you know, he doesn't want them to ramp up. He just wants them to check out, relax a little bit. But granted, if it's a tighter part of the season, or if there's a little bit closer lead in the division, maybe it might change a little bit because these wins might become paramount. But I think with that big cushion, it allows them the option to give them that full day off.
Or even if you're down a run or tied, it could make a difference. You're up 2 here.
Yep. You're up to here with what? Oh. Sorry.
He'll be here the rest of the week.
Yep.
Only a few more hours. 2-2 count is outside for a ball. It's 3-2. Astros will head to Seattle after this game and start another road trip. This was a strange homestand. It technically began, I don't even know where to start. Did it begin in Arlington or did it begin in Florida? I guess it began in Florida and then finished up here in Houston. Kemp the other way towards left. Nimmo gets over there and makes the catch for out number 2. So it began at Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, Florida. And the Astros lost 2 out of 3 to the Rangers, and then continued on to Minute Maid Park, where the Astros have won the first 2 games and hoping for a sweep. George Springer will be due up, and A.J. Ramos, who had been warming, will be called out of the bullpen. Smoker facing the 2 left-hand hitters, and Terry Collins going back to the bullpen. Back with more to this. And a runner on second base. Astros leading 8-6. Mets go back to their bullpen with George Springer due up, and they call on the right arm of A.J. Ramos.
A.J. Ramos, fastball around 90 to 93 miles an hour. Also has a changeup, curveball, and a slider. 53rd appearance on this season. 29 walks in those 52 1/3 innings pitched.
Ramos acquired at the trade deadline from the Miami Marlins. Had been a closer with the Marlins. 6th in the National League in saves. Obviously, with his team down 2, he's just trying to keep this game where it is for Terry Collins. George Springer with a home run in 4 at-bats. Speaking of deadlines, if you were not with us earlier, we had general manager of the Astros, Jeff Luhnow, on with us in the booth in the 3rd inning, and he said that trade for Justin Verlander came down to the final 2 seconds to be eligible for the postseason. August 31st at 11:59 and 58 seconds.
Buzzer beater. I like when you said that.
Hit a shot at the buzzer.
Yeah.
Yeah, big shot. We'll see.
Big shot, Bob.
We'll see Justin on Tuesday. Now, I guess technically if it was late, he could have joined the team, but he just would not have been eligible. He can still make a deal, but if you're not on the roster by midnight of August 31st, then no postseason eligibility.
Be like going out for a big steak dinner and not getting dessert. Right. You kidding me?
Right. No, that would have been that would have been ugly. They would have almost had to call it off at that point. Right?
Yeah, forget it.
Yeah, we're good. We can't trade 3
Good news is you got the deal. Bad news, you're 3 seconds late.
2-1 to George. It's in the dirt, but not far enough for Tyler to advance. Looks like the Astros are going to try and go with a 2-inning save situation for Chris Davinsky. We have not seen any bullpen action in this 9th inning. Ken Giles has been used extensively lately, even though this would be a time you would normally see Giles. AJ may be giving him the day off. (3-1), big swing by George, and it's a foul ball on the right side. The count's full.
Mike Acosta talked about seeing him in the tunnel. George Springer gave his game-used cleats and bat to the Astro fan that returned his 30th home run ball. It was a very nice gesture, like the inscription too: stay safe, stay strong.
George said he was very emotional about that home run. Meant a lot to him, knowing what this city has gone through, and happy to be back here playing a game at Minute Maid Park in his home stadium with the Houston Strong patch right above his heart. Up high, ball 4. Springer draws a walk. 2 on with 2 outs, and Alex Bregman will be the batter. Bregman, 2 hits his first 2 at bats, also has lined out to center and popped up. Double run scored and a stolen base. Astros have 4 steals today. 2 by Jose Altuve. Bregman has 1, and Carlos Correa on the back end of a double steal picked up his first stolen base of the season. Foul territory. Aoki by the stands, and Nori makes the play right in front of the first row. So the Astros are out in the 8th inning. We will head to the 9th in an 8-6 game.
for the crazy kids behind me trying to get a ball. Here we go. Joe Musgrove, Ken Giles. We've talked a lot about how this bullpen's been really good here lately, but these two guys in particular, when they pitch in the same game, look at these numbers. The ERA is pretty incredible, and that's almost 40 innings pitched. That's the second best in the majors. Joe Musgrove new to the bullpen as far as this year is concerned, starting that starting rotation, made the transition. We're looking at video of him right now. He actually feels much more comfortable out there here recently, and then we saw him last night. He was asked to go 2 1/3, but coming in bigger spots too, guys, higher leverage. So the confidence is growing on both sides with him, and then with, of course, his manager, A.J. Hinch, and Brent Strom has been working with him all season long. So Joe Musgrove in a really good place. It'll be interesting to see where he is and how he's used going forward and in some bigger spots down the road.
Yeah, Ken Giles and Joe Musgrove getting the day off, it appears. Giles with that 2-inning save on Thursday to wrap up the Rangers series, and then needing an inning last night for another save. And Joe Musgrove, as Julie mentioned, with 2 1/3. So it's Chris Davinsky looking for a 2-inning save. Got down to the count 2-0 to Dominic Smith, but now after this foul ball, it's evened up 2 apiece. Smith with a couple of hits tonight, or this afternoon, I should say. 2 for 4 today. Has a 5-hit series going, including a home run. But it has been great to watch Joe Musgrove really acclimate to the bullpen and provide another big option for A.J. Hinch late in games. 3-2 is fouled back. Joe can be used as a setup guy for an inning, but also can take the ball earlier in the game, like he did yesterday in the 6th inning, and bridge that gap all the way to the closer. Ball is hit hard, but hooking, and it's foul into the crowd, and a nice catch. The little girl got a little scared with that foul ball, but everybody okay? It's 3-2.
She might have been worried it was going to be a hit.
Davinsky with a walk and a double out in the 8th inning. Facing Dominic Smith, Ahmed Rosario, and Brandon Nimmo in the 9th. And he picks up a strikeout for the first out of the 9th inning.
Good way to start off this 9th inning. Fastball right down the middle. Beat Smith.
Ahmed Rosario was lifted from the game in the previous inning. Matt Reynolds is the batter. Reynolds getting his first at bat. Rosario went 0 for 3, was hit by a pitch. And the pitch is down low from Davinsky. It's 1-0. Reynolds started game 2 of the doubleheader yesterday, went 1 for 4. There's a call strike. It's 1-1. Astros looking for a series sweep before they head out on the road. Also looking to win their 4th game in a row. There's a strike on the corner, perfectly placed by Davinsky. And the count's 2-2.
Pretty nice little paint job on the outside corner.
Missed the inside corner, and for the 2nd straight batter, the count's full. Devo is tied for 3rd in the American League in holds. He is looking for his 4th save of the season. And missed the corner that time. Just missed. Tough takes by Reynolds on the 2-2 and 3-2 pitch.
Catch the edge. Just enough. Didn't get the call, though.
I'll bring up Brandon Nimmo. He has been on base all 4 times. He has walked 3 times, including once intentionally, and also singled to left. Davinsky trying to work through the final 2 innings. He's the 4th reliever used by A.J. Hinch today. Hinch trying to avoid his closer Ken Giles, so it's Devo's game to save. It's 0-2 to Brandon Nimmo.
Some nice options out there for A.J. stepping up, going multiple innings.
Call, 3rd strike. Davinsky freezes Nimmo for out number 2.
It's a good run on that fastball. 94, tailing back out over the plate. Centeno sticking it right at the top of the zone, getting a call. It's good for us.
It is. Puts our total up to $2,800. In our case for recovery. There goes the runner. Pitch is fouled back by Plawecki. It's 0-1. Broadcast team will donate to youcaring.com. Astros Harvey after this series concludes. $100 for every strikeout. Oh, and 2 the count. Popped up, foul. Centeno, White. Neither one can make the play. It's on top of the dugout. Great efforts by both. Runner will take second on the pitch up. No stolen base. Fielder's indifference. Just missed the corner. 2-2. Clearwater's had a pretty good zone today. Had a close call on the 3-2 pitch to Reynolds. Popped up. Carlos Correa in his first game back will make the play for the final out. And the Astros sweep the New York Mets with an 8-6 victory this afternoon.
Player of the game is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Newcomer Cameron Maybin, big shot of the day. The big 3-run home run for Cameron in the 3rd inning. Piling on against this New York Mets pitching staff. Getting some big hugs and earning the love. Also did a little bit in the outfield too. Making a tough play look easy in deep center field.
The Astros sweep the Mets in this 3-game series. They have now won 4 in a row. They will head on the road for an 11-day, 10-game road trip. We'll have more about this one right after this.